Hey everyone, I'm Emma Wharton Love, co-founder of Spark AI, and welcome to our AI Summer School. And welcome Jules, my co-founder, who is our guest for episode 1.
Hi everyone.
Thanks Jules, thanks for kicking us off. So if you don't know us already, we run AI training and business transformation programs for agencies and for brand teams. And over the next 6 weeks, we are bringing you short, free AI demos based on what we teach in our AI Accelerator program. We're going to give you like step-by-step demos and frameworks across strategy, design, client services, and also for those leading AI transformation in their businesses, in their agencies, or in their brand teams. So 30 minutes every Wednesday, 11 a.m., LinkedIn Live. And here you are at the first one. So thanks so much. So Jules, today we're going to talk about image prompting to kick us off. And the image model world is moving furiously fast. So thank you very much for focusing on this first. But before we jump in with the demo, I would just love, and I'm sure everyone else would love, just to find out a little bit about your background. Obviously, I know quite well your background.
Yeah, I probably don't need to tell you, but I can tell our viewers out there. So I started out life as a management consultant. So I spent 8 years at Accenture, where in their marketing and customer insight practice, and led the marketing center of excellence for the UK. And then I left and became an advertising photographer. And I spent 15 years shooting for big brands all over the world, working with some of the biggest agencies in London. And then COVID came along, shut things down, had a couple of years twiddling my thumbs. So went down the AI rabbit hole, spotted Midjourney early when it came out in mid-22, then ChatGPT at the end of 22, then got a bit fascinated by it all, studied applied generative AI at MIT, launched Spark with Emma, and we then got involved with Innovate UK, building out our accelerator program. And since then, I now lecture on AI in business at Oxford University Said Business School, talk regularly at the AI events and the AI Summit and TEDx and things like that. Recently, we've both been nominated by Beamer as 2 of the top 100 most influential people in digital and tech UK, which was a lovely thing earlier this summer. And I've just finished my book, AI for Agencies, which will be coming out with Rethink Press in November.
Wow, steeped in AI over the last couple of years, over the last 3 years. Yeah.
Runs through my veins.
It really does, I can testify. Fab. So thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about image prompting. Why is this an important topic for agencies and brands right now?
Yeah, so obviously the creative side of AI, image and video generation, goes to the very heart of what a lot of agencies do, as well as crafting brilliant strategies for brands. We often then produce all of the assets it takes to launch their brand, launch their campaign, activate their socials, whatever it might be. And when we first get involved with agencies, everyone's usually pretty excited about what tools out there they should be using. And, you know, should I be on Midjourney or Ideogram, or what's this thing called Flux? Or I've heard about Bria, should I be using that, or Free, or whatever it might be? And what we're really finding, though, is people are getting a bit frustrated because they don't have enough control over what they're trying to do with their imagery, and actually getting back to basics and really understanding how to control these models a little bit then is really powerful, because then it doesn't actually really matter too much which model you're using. They all have their slight strengths and weaknesses or slight flavors. But if you've got a solid grounding in how to actually instruct the models and get the control over what you're doing, it unlocks a lot of power. So that's what we're going to touch on today, and just make sure you got the basics right.
Great. Well, we'll get into it in just a sec. So what you're going to show us is a bit of a outtake from our AI Accelerator program, from our sort of creative stream aimed at designers. And when you run through exercises like this, do you find that there's like a bit of an aha moment for people when they try this?
Yeah, definitely. I think most people, the moment we sort of step through what I'm about to show, most people realize they have not been thinking nearly hard enough about what they're really asking models to do. And I think, you know, that's common across the language models too in some of the other programs we teach is, AI does change the way that you work, and part of the way it changes you work, the way that you work, is you've got to write a good brief for the AI. It's as if you're instructing somebody else to do the work for you. We all know what it's like when clients have given us incomplete or poor briefs and you don't really know how to proceed. Well, AI struggles with the same problem if you don't brief it well. So good image prompting is a little bit like writing a good brief, and we're going to look at that next.
Well, should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Great.
Here we go.
So image prompting. What's image prompting all about? Well, one of the, those of you that have been on our fundamentals program know that one of the little case studies we do is take you through a non-alcoholic beer brand called Buzz Free. And we get people to generate an image for that. So here's one of the images that we've generated for Buzz Free. And as you can see, we've got a nice glistening beer bottle with the sun shining through, with some ice and lemons on the sand. Not quite sure why it's on the sand, but there we go. And some palm trees in the background. Who wouldn't want a refreshing non-alcoholic beer on holiday on the beach watching the sunset? So what really goes into creating an image like this? Well, if you actually go on to any of these image generators like Midjourney, like Ideogram, and you scroll through the gallery and then click on an image that you like the look of, you'll see the prompt that went into creating it. So here we've got one for Janssen Cosmetics, I think, that I just found on Ideogram. And on the right-hand side, I've kind of blown out the prompt. And let's just have a look at what's in this prompt. A photograph showcases a pristine white Janssen Cosmetics jar bearing a delicate soft pink stripe and the label Janssen Cosmetics sensitive skin slowly sinking into tranquil, clear water. Now, if we look over on the left-hand side, that's exactly what we've got. We've got a pristine white cosmetics jar. We've got a delicate pink band. It's got the logo on it, and it's just slowly sinking into the water. Next bit of the prompt. The cylindrical jar with its minimalist design is surrounded by a gentle vortex of blush pink peony petals that drift and scatter around it, partially obscuring its base. And look at that, we've got beautiful soft pink peony petals. Next, we've got warm, diffuse sunlight filters through the water, creating shimmering golden reflections on the jar's surface and accentuating the soft curves of the petals, while tiny iridescent bubbles rise towards the water's surface. And look at that, you can even see the little bubbles rising up. And the shimmering reflections in the background there. Finally, a shallow depth of field emphasizes the jar and petals against the softly blurred background of teal blue and a feeling of understated luxury and calm. And again, look at that. We've got the teal water, we've got understated luxury. So what's really important to think about here is everything that is in the prompt is in the picture. You've just got to think to ask for it. When we talk about a picture being 1,000 words, sometimes it really does take 1,000 words, or maybe not quite 1,000, but certainly 100 to describe what you actually want to be in the picture. And when you're struggling to get pictures to do what you want, it's usually simply because you're not describing them well enough. Anything you don't tell the AI, it has to invent, and it has to guess. And it's probably going to guess differently to what you've got in your head. If you don't describe the lighting, it doesn't know what lighting to give it, so it'll make something up. If you don't describe the background, it doesn't know what the background should be, so it'll make something up. So what goes into a good image prompt? Well, first of all, if we blow out this prompt, we've got the medium, like what kind of an image are we looking for? In this case, a photograph. But if you wanted an illustration, if you wanted vector art, if you wanted a comic strip, you need to tell it. Next, the subject. We've described the subject in quite a lot of detail, and every detail is in the picture. Next, the setting. So we've got the background there and the peony petals. Finally, we've described the lighting, warm, diffuse sunlight filtering through the water, iridescent bubbles shimmering, all of that's in there. We've got the composition. We've talked about what's in the foreground, what's in the background. And finally, we've got a feeling. These models are usually quite good at interpreting feelings. And if you want something calm and understated, or if you want something arresting, or you want something that feels urgent or whatever, they're quite good at getting those things across. So what goes then into a good image prompt? Well, you need to describe the medium, like what is it you're trying to create? Is it a photograph, a comic strip, an illustration, a line drawing? What's the subject? Describe it in a lot of detail. If you've got things that are moving, you need to describe the action. What are they doing? Especially with people, what are they doing with their hands or legs, or where are they moving to? Where are they looking? What's the setting? Detail the environment, the location, and the surroundings. What's the lighting and atmosphere? What time of day are we talking about? Are we indoors or outdoors? And what's that? Here I'm in a phone booth with a horrible overhead light. Let's describe that. Composition, not just left and right, but foreground and background. What gives the image depth? If it's a photograph, if it's an illustration, where are the different elements of the illustration? What angle or perspective are we looking at it from? If you don't say anything, you tend to get sort of dead, bog standard, straight ahead looking pictures. If you want an aerial view or a low angle shot, you've got to say these things. Again, what's the time period? Are we looking futuristic, retro? And finally, what's the feeling we're trying to convey? So using a prompt formula like this gives you control over the models. Why do you want to use a prompt formula like that? Firstly, it makes you describe all of the elements in the picture that you want. Secondly, if you build up the prompt formula one at a time, you can work out which bit's not working because you can see which bit it fails to interpret properly. Image models are doing two things. They're having to interpret your instruction and create the picture. And you can understand where it's getting one of those things wrong. And thirdly, once you've got a great prompt formula and you're creating a picture that you really like, you can then just change one element of the prompt and most of the rest of the picture will stay pretty much the same. So you start to get control and be able to create a set of on-brand imagery. So if we think about our buzz-free beer bottle, what have we got in the photo, in the image prompt rather? We've said it's a high-resolution advertising pack shot. Sometimes it helps to describe, for photography-style imagery, it helps sometimes to describe a camera as well. We've got a subject described in quite a lot of detail, chilled, slim bottle of golden beer on pristine white sand. We've described the logo. It's done a pretty good job of that. Action, we've said condensation slowly dripping. We've given a setting of a sweeping tropical beach. We've got lighting and atmosphere of soft sunlight filtering through the palm fronds. We've got a composition of a bottle centered with lime wedges and ice cubes blurred in the foreground and a tropical vista stretching away in the background. We're low angle so that we've got the bottle looming heroic against the sky, and we've gone for refreshingly tropical. And guess what? We've got all of those things in the picture. So that's how we get a bit of control. So if you stick that into an image generator, here's the example of the 4 images that I got. You can see they're all very consistent. I could just get to choose my favorite one. So that's what gives you control. With very short prompts, what you'll find is all the images are very, very different, and it's hard to get the control that you want. So let's have a look at what that looks like on a real project quickly. Imagine we're working for a specialist coffee brand. They've got single origin coffees from artisanal growers. They source the best coffee and give back to the local communities. And we've got to develop a storyboard for a brand film. We're going to send a film crew out to Peru, and we need to give them a bit of a storyboard so they know what they're doing. Well, let's have a look. So when you're trying to develop consistent characters across these across a set of images, you've got to describe the character first. So here we are, we're asking for a middle-aged Peruvian coffee farmer. We've described the style that we want, and a setting is a photo studio with a black background. And great, here's our Peruvian coffee farmer. Looks like a nice chap. When you want to build up a character sheet, it's often helpful to then see what they look like from different angles. So here, I've just changed the prompt to say I want to see them looking the other way, and then I want them to see them looking the other way again. And then I can put all of those things together into a character sheet. I've got 3 views of my character now, which I can use as a character reference. That works in Ideogram, works in Midjourney, works if you're using more complicated workflows like Comfy UI and Flux. And now I can accurately describe my farmer. So I can start creating some pictures. So let's say we want to create the establishing shot. I want a high-resolution photo of a tropical coffee plantation in the mountains of South America. It's a drone shot from overhead, wide angle, soft early morning light, long shadows, mist. And look at what we got. There we go. We've got a beautiful picture of a coffee plantation in South America. You can tell it's realistic because there is a little bit of rubbish over at the back right, which any of you have actually been out to Latin America will know, unfortunately, is a bit of a problem out there. But that's the kind of thing that you would not try to prompt out. You would probably just retouch that in Photoshop. Now we've got our setting. Let's see what we can do. So you can see I'm keeping a lot of the prompt the same, and I'm only changing the things that are in red. So my medium, I'm now, instead of a drone shot, I'm now going for an editorial photo. My subject is now my farmer harvesting coffee in a plantation. And you can see that I'm using my character sheet as a character reference, and I'm using my drone shot as a style reference. And great, here's my farmer. Recognizable character, and the look and feel of the location and the lighting matches my drone shot. So I'm on brand, I'm consistent. Next shot, the only bits we're changing are in red. We now want a close-up of the hands with lots of bokeh, and then we're using the earlier shot again as a style reference. Everything else stays the same. Boom, there's my close-up of picking coffee beans. Next, I want to transition to the roastery. Again, I'm only changing what's in red. We're using character reference and a shot and a style reference. We're now asking for a Peruvian coffee farmer walking away from the camera with a truck loaded with sacks of coffee beans, carrying a Hessian sack on his shoulder. Bang, there we go. Still looks like our guy, and we're matching the tropical feel of the whole thing. Next, we're going to go into the roastery, and we want the magic pack shot. So we've asked for an advertising pack shot of the coffee top on top of a Hessian bag. And again, we're keeping lots of things the same here. And there's our pack shot. So this is where you then take that into Photoshop or Illustrator and put your logo or design or whatever onto the pack. Finally, we want to go back to our farmer. So we just reuse one of the previous prompts, say that we want him drinking a cup of coffee with steam coming up from the coffee. Again, we're using style reference and character reference, and there's our guy drinking his coffee. So that's how you pull together a storyboard of images that are all super consistent, and using a prompt formula like that allows you lots and lots of control.
Thanks, Jules. That's amazing. Just wanted to say, in that last image, he's got a bit of an air of George Clooney there. I think maybe it's an espresso ad.
Exactly, yeah. The other thing you'll find with image generators is it's very hard to fight their training data. I couldn't get him to drink anything except a flat white. Because 99% of all the coffees on the internet are flat whites. What happens next? You can use those prompt formulas. I gave you a fairly basic one that's great for sort of general people shots and things like that. You can use ChatGPT to help you build out prompt formulas for other subjects, because to write good prompts, you need to be able to describe the imagery in lots of detail. What if it's an area that you don't know the language for terribly well? Well, use chat to help you suggest the categories that you should focus on to be able to write ultra detailed prompts. So imagine we now need to do a food photo. Suggest unique categories we could focus on to be ultra detailed with food photography. And here's what I get back. Ingredient texture, color harmony, lighting, mood, steam and smoke, cutlery and props, bite shots, portion play, drizzle and garnish. Things, as someone who is not a food photographer, things I wouldn't have thought to describe. But that means I've now got the language to talk about what I want in a lot of detail. So let's imagine we're doing some apple pie shots. Now I can do, you can see my prompt on the left, perfect home-cooked apple tart, overhead, on the left side of the frame, sharp focus, environment, rustic kitchen tables, gentle steam coming off the tart, a vintage silver cake slice with a bone handle and 3 apples resting on a linen cloth. And you can see all of that rich description, soft afternoon light. And you can see we've got 4 images that are very consistent. They've all got the elements that we asked for in. You get to pick your favorite one, but you've got a lot of control and you've just pulled out all of that rich detailing. So that's a little intro to image prompting. In Accelerator, we go a bit deeper again. We dive into tools like Flora and Weavy, which allow you to build consistent workflows, node-based workflows, where you can generate images with any particular model. You can combine images together using style or character references. You can put logos onto objects, you can move objects into different backgrounds, you can resize imagery for different formats, you can convert things into video, you can layer text over the top. All of those things we show you how to build really repeatable, powerful workflows that you can use from project to project to project.
Amazing. Jules, are you going to talk through this, or would you like me to? Just going to talk a bit about what AI Accelerator includes.
Yeah, you go.
Sure. So yeah, Jules mentioned AI Accelerator, and where we would go much deeper is in one of the 4 modules we teach in Accelerator, which is AI for designers. So that's where we would pick up a lot more on the image prompting side. So AI Accelerator is a 3-month transformation program where we work with the leadership team on what AI means for your business or for your team, in terms of like your operating model, everything from your people to your risk to your governance to your roadmap for rolling out AI across the following few months. And then we work with each of your teams. So that may be strategists, designers, client services to partner to develop really strong AI skills in the specific workflows of those team members. The Accelerator is something we really love working with people on. So I've already said quite a lot of this actually. 3 months. Roadmaps we cover. We focus on not just looking for AI efficiencies in your team. What we really major on is identifying those points of innovation. What new services can you bring in? How could you do things differently now that AI is in the world? So it's thinking through not just how to layer in AI over the top of things or just adding it in as a step in an existing workflow. It's like, what are the opportunities to do things differently, which is, I think, the really exciting thing about AI.
Yeah, and then what we do is we then actually help you build those workflows in each of your teams. So across strategy, across client services, across your design team, we help you actually build one of the workflows you've identified, with supporting you with custom GPTs or Microsoft agents or Weavy workflows, whatever it might be, that allows you to really activate the strategy that you've identified through your leadership program. So we help you really build out the capabilities to work with AI in your organization and have the skills to build it further after we hand back to you.
Totally. Yeah. And we have 7 AI coaches who lead in each of those different areas of the business. And through this AI Summer School, we're going to be talking to many of them, each bringing a different demo from AI Accelerator or a framework. It may be a way of thinking that we help leadership teams with. And we've worked with a number of agencies on AI Accelerator. We're just starting to work with First and Without, which is really exciting. And as Jules mentioned, we've been backed by Innovate UK on AI Accelerator. They supported us to do a lot of research right up front, which was invaluable. And we're teaching the AI for Leaders module, part of that, on the AI in Business diploma at University of Oxford. Can I say AI any more times, do you think, Jules?
AI.
Yeah. Jules, did you want to jump into Weavy at all, or any of those tools? I know you mentioned it at the start before we started.
Yeah, I can give people a little sneak peek when we talk about what does an AI-enabled workflow really look like.
I think that'd be awesome. Let me just take these slides down. We've got a few more minutes, so we could use that.
Yeah, here we go. So what does Weavy look like? Well, it's a node-based workflow creation tool. So I can create nodes for text, for image, and for video. So here's an example where we've taken our beer brand and I've tried it with 8 different image models to see what we get. So here we've got a prompt, the one that you saw, where we've got our we've got our image prompt here, the one that you saw earlier. And then we've joined that up to different image models: Google Image Gen, Mystic, Stable Diffusion, Minimax, Ideogram. You can see all of the different models that we get. Then let's say that we want to change the scenery of one of these things. Let's take our bottle, we'll ask to place that bottle on top of let's imagine we're going to band practice and we're working with music venues. And then here we go, we just relocate that bottle into our band practice. So using models like Flux Context. And again, you can see it here where we go from a Mystic image, which is actually one of the best models I think right out there right now, and we've relocated it into our band practice environment. And you can see the logo, the shape of the bottle, everything still matches. What else can we do? We can use this to actually generate ideas for logos, for example. So generate a detailed logo prompt. Here we go, we've got a few examples of logos from different image models here. I've done the same to generate some blank beer bottles. And then actually we use that to, let's actually put those logos onto the bottles. Here we go, we'll zoom in here. You can see I've actually placed that logo onto a bottle. It's got realistic shape, lighting, everything. So you can start to get a lot of control over what you can do with your bottles. We then have compositor nodes where we can add text over the top of these things. Here we go. And then I can upscale those images here. So we can see that this image is now, I've now got a 2000 pixel resize image of that. So these are some of the things that you can start to do when you build workflows. Oops. Hold on, we got a little refresh sign, that's okay. So I could then change these logos for something else, and it would put them on the bottles for me again and add the summer discount and up-res it. So you start to get repeatable workflows when you work in a tool like this. So what we help you do is understand how to build your workflows. We help you build the actual workflows in your team. And this is what really starts to get the power out of AI, not just jumping between lots of different tabs all the time, but actually having control over each step of the process, human oversight all the way, and getting real results for real work that you actually do.
Yeah, and I think it's also about making it unique within, as in each agency, each team will have their unique process, and it's those workflows it's not a kind of one size fits all. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we tailor it all to you, the kind of work that you do.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Well, Jules, thank you so much. That was really insightful demo, super practical, exactly what I wanted out of the first summer school episode.
And yeah, what you saw today is just scratching the surface. We spent 30 minutes on that. On our AI for Designers program, it's a full day workshop, then 3 months of coaching, building out workflows. We give you job aids, prompt libraries, email sequences, all sorts of support to help you build out the workflows in your business and really build that capability in your team so that you can go on and build future workflows and adopt new tools as they come available and change the way that you work and the way that you think.
Fabulous. Great. Thanks, Jules. I think that's it for today. So thanks everyone for joining. If we haven't got back to your questions or comments immediately, that's because we're talking, so we will get back to you asynchronously. So take care, everyone. And before I forget, next week we have another member of our team, Steve Edwards. I'll be talking to him. We haven't decided exactly which demo it's going to be, but it's either going to be
so he's going to be talking about AI for strategy.
Yes. Is he? Has he told you that?
No.
Okay.
But I assume he is if he's doing a demo. Yeah.
I think he's either going to be talking about AI for strategy, or he'll be talking through some insights about how we support leaders in terms of the organizational change side of AI as well. I will let you know in the next couple of days. It will be advertised, and I'll send out an email so that you can sign up and register. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.